Hello, my name is Bubbles, or Quinn if you want me to be a little bit more formal, and I'm going to be talking about Greek mythology today. So, I've watched a lot of, people doing murder mystery makeup and a lot of, John Solo and stuff where they talk about mythology, but I have never seen people put, one and two together, and I thought, hey, I love makeup, I love mythology, let's put them together. Now, I do plan on doing more than just Greek mythology, obviously, because there's more than just Greek mythology out there. There are so many different forms of mythology that I would love to learn all of the stuff that I don't know, but I'm starting out with the basics, the stuff that I do know, which is Greek mythology. I know a lot about Greek mythology, but we're going to start from the very beginning of everything, and that is how the gods and the world came to be. Now, I do also have to preface this. If you hear noises in the background, it is most likely my children or my cats. Let's get right into it. Now, in the beginning, there was nothing but chaos. But out of this nothingness, out of this, the void that cannot be proclaimed by anything other than chaos, came Gaia, known as Mother Nature, and Uranus, known as the sky. There's also, Promise, but that's the ocean. They're not really as keen in this story as Gaia and not Uranus. Just double-checked on my script. That is what I wrote, so that's what I'm putting in. Uranus. I'm pretty sure that is correct, but I could be very much so wrong. Please feel free to correct me. I did do, weeks worth of research before filming this video. Don't know why my brain decided that, nope, that's not correct, after I already put it in my script, but it's fine. It's fine. But, Uranus and Gaia were the first two that created, and of course their sibling. I will say there's a lot of incest involved in these stories. So if there's ever something that you don't feel comfortable with, then please feel free to not watch. But within those stories, within those two, Uranus and Gaia ended up having children known as the Titans. There's more than two Titans, but we're only talking about two Titans today, which is Rhea and Kronos. And if you do know about the mythology, Kronos is not a great guy. I'm going to be using my new Beetlejuice palette and Phoebe palette today. Don't know what colors, but I thought I'd let you know now, because I'm not going to be telling you guys all of the colors I'm using today. But yes, so Kronos was not the great guy. A little story within a story. So, Kronos overthrew Uranus, his father, by cutting off his manhood, throwing it in the ocean, and with the help of Gaia, his mother, who also did not like the man, which, if your wife and your own child don't like you, then, you're probably not a great guy. But together, they decided to decide a plan to cut off his manhood, hoping most of you know exactly what that means. If you don't, you're probably a little too young to be on this channel. Joking. But, cut off his manhood, and decided that, he was going to be the next line in charge. Now, there was a prophecy that stated that one of Kronos' children would do the exact same thing to him that he did to Uranus. And since Uranus was already out of the picture, he was like, well, for every child I have, I'm just going to eat them. And that's going to solve my issues, is I'm just going to eat every single child that I have. And I'm sorry, I physically have never opened something that opens like this. I'm in love. Sorry. We get back to the mythology. But yes, there was a prophecy that stated whatever happened to Uranus would also happen to Kronos, which Kronos did not like, so he devised a plan. So every single time Rhea gave birth, she would give him the child, and he would swallow it whole. And he ended up doing this with 5 of the 6 children. There was Hera, Hestia, Demeter, Hades, and Poseidon that were all swallowed And Zeus, being the last born, was Rhea's, okay, that's it. Nope, not doing this. We're not doing this anymore. And she decided that she was going to not let that happen once more. She, oh my god, look at that glitter. Sorry, I'm getting so distracted. ASMR. Okay, sorry. I shouldn't be opening up new makeup and talking about mythology at the same time, because I'm going to get sidetracked, because that's two things that I love. Anyways, Rhea, when it came to Zeus, the last-born child, did not like the idea of him swallowing all of the children. So, she decided that she was going to put Zeus somewhere safe. And I cannot remember for the life of me. I've looked it up 3 separate times, but I cannot remember or find where the name of the person, hopefully, editor, me, will put it right here, but the name of the person who Rhea gave Zeus to. It also isn't for sure whether that person was a goat, like a satyr, half human, half goat, or if they were a nymph. I'm going to assume nymph for the storyline, but if it changes, if I find more factual evidence, I will also put that right here. But there was no chance that Rhea was going to let Kronos eat the 6th child. So when Zeus became old enough, so when he became a teenager, he was told about what was happening by the nymph that took care of him, and devised a plan to overthrow his father, Kronos, like what Kronos did to his father. Which, it's funny, if Kronos never swallowed his children, probably the prophecy would not have happened. Or at least you'd think, correct? Correct. You'd have a little hope that maybe they'd be all cool with each other. But, that is not how the mythology goes. Mythology usually does not go, and everyone lived happily ever after because they weren't swallowed by their parents. But when Zeus got there, he was able to shove a rock down Kronos' throat, having him thankfully throw up all of his siblings whole because they were gods. So he threw up So I'm doing this in order of, he threw up Poseidon, Hades, Hera, Demeter, and Hestia. That's the order that I googled. I was told Hestia was the firstborn and the lastborn, because she was the firstborn, but the last swallowed. Swallowed. The last that came out, because she was the firstborn. But, this is really pretty green. Thankfully, Kronos ended up throwing up his children in the order that I told you about, and then Zeus and his children, his siblings, were all pissed off, obviously, for good reason. They were just swallowed whole, and they decided to start a war with the Titans, which were Kronos' siblings, you know. But yeah. Anyways, this is my eye look. I plan on adding more glitter. I believe it was a 10-year war. There wasn't really anything for sure that states how long. I believe it said a 10-year war when I was looking it up on the wiki. But yeah, it was a war. It was a very long war. And when it was all over, Zeus became the god of the sky. So it went in order of oldest to youngest and boys. So Zeus, even though he was the youngest, he was the most powerful. He defeated Kronos. He was able to get his siblings out. They all agreed that he would be the god of the sky. Poseidon ended up taking the ocean, the god of water, the sea, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And then Hades ended up being the god of the underworld. Now, those are the 6 main Olympians in the beginning of the story. Of course, there are other Olympians, like there's Ares, Athena, Apollo, Artemis, Hephaestus. And I will talk about all of their stories alone a different time. But one thing I did forget to add was Aphrodite. Because unfortunately, Hades is not considered one of the first 6. Aphrodite takes his place as being the first 6 Olympian gods. The heck? She takes the place of being one of the first 6 Olympian gods. So, instead of it going to Hades, it went to her. And no idea why. I think it's kind of silly, even though Aphrodite is Uranus's child and Hades is Kronos' child. It feels like that would make the most sense because Aphrodite would be considered a Titan under those circumstances. But how Aphrodite came to be was, because I already told you the first main 6, is after Kronos took Uranus's manhood, he threw it in the ocean, sea foam came up, and that's how Aphrodite came to be. Now, we're going to get to the fun part where incest plays a big-ass factor, even though it already did at the very beginning, because, this is Greek mythology. That's kind of the point. That's kind of all of mythology, you know what I mean? Mythology is just like that sometimes, I guess. But, so, Zeus and Hera end up getting married. They end up having children together. And, of course, Zeus is not at all anywhere close to being a man of one woman. He decides to cheat on Hera with Demeter, creating Persephone, with Aphrodite, creating Cupid, and a few other gods, which I think would be a big no-no, but I guess the only person that cares in that circumstance is Hera. And then Zeus decides to do humans! So, because like I said, he's not the most trying to think of the correct word to say it. The one man type of guy. One lady type of guy. He finds mortals that he ends up falling in love with. And there's a Titan specifically he ends up loving, which ends up being Artemis's and Apollo's parent. And Hera hears about this, gets really upset, as one does, and cursed their mother. And the only reason why they became a part of the 12 was because Artemis messed with Hera's plan. How Athena came to be it's a really long story, but I'll just tell you the gist of it, of how it's Zeus's child with another god. Hera knew about that. He wanted to hide that from her, so he put it in her knee and gave birth to it or whatever. Like I said, I'm not telling you the full stories of them, but I am going to tell you just enough so that way when I start the stories, you're not going to be like, who the hell is Athena? Who the hell is Artemis? Who the hell is this person? But I'm not going to tell you enough for you to be like, oh, well, I already know the whole story. And I'm sorry that I'm rambling so much. I'm trying to focus on doing my makeup and this at the same time. I thought it'd be a good idea, but I might end up doing my makeup and then doing a voiceover of me actually talking about the mythology. That might be the best idea for my ADHD mind. Because I'm not very great at multitasking, obviously. Where are my other... Here we go. Um, when we talk about Zeus and Hera, Persephone and Hades and Poseidon and Artemis and all of the other gods, I'll talk into like how they got their significant others and stuff, because Zeus's and Hera's is very messed up. If you don't know anything about mythology, Hades is married to Persephone, which is Demeter's child. Demeter's and Zeus's child. They devise a whole plan so that way he can kidnap her. It's a whole thing that we'll like get into in their own stories. But I'm almost done with my makeup, and I am done with the story. Cause right now I'm rambling. So I just gotta do lipstick, cheeks, and blush, and I'll do that right now. If you hear a baby making background noises, it's my daughter. Okay. Oh, golly geez. Oh, for goodness sakes, dude. I bought a new part of my makeup cabinet, and it's kind of fucking messing everything up, but it's fine. What shade should I do? They're not mixing these two together. Of course, my hair's gonna look a little messy, but okay. Here's the look. Now, when I get more into these, I will be practicing scripting and stuff. I had a script for this one, but it didn't go exactly the way I wanted it to. But I will have more mythologies coming out, and I do not plan on doing like gods and stuff. Like now that I've done the existence of how mythology came to be, I'm not gonna be doing all the gods. I'll probably move on to like how Norse mythology or Egyptian mythology came to be, and then I'll have a chance to do as many gods as I want within all of those. So that way it's not just me getting tired of one thing. I can do all three of them, multiple of them, and then switch to any god that I want after that point. So expect me to do, I'm probably doing Norse mythology and how the world was created through that, and then after that Egyptian and Roman and whatever. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.